Okay, cruise number 2. This time up north to Alaska. This one-way 7-day cruise cost us $852 each, Canadian. That is for an inside-aft cabin, essentially the cheapest cabin aboard. We would be sailing on the Grand Princess, the oldest vessel in the Princess Cruise fleet. Here are some of her stats set to music. Now, everyone on board is issued a small medallion, which essentially acts as your key card. So you have to wear it around your neck at all times, which is what I did the old-fashioned way. But you can purchase other ways, like a belt clip or a wristwatch. Everything is paid for with your medallion after attaching your credit card via the app. You can order and have food delivered to you anywhere aboard. They had these handy directories around the ship where you could make restaurant reservations after scanning the medallion. I thought that was quite handy. It also opens your room door as you approach it. The room was small but comfortable. Like I said, it was the cheapest cabin aboard, so there was nothing special about this one. I did miss the lack of natural light, like this room seemed very dark. Thankfully, I don't need much. There's a safe there and a fridge. Is it stocked? No, it is not. No freebies. I did get an invite to a special event as a first-time Princess Cruiser. I didn't attend, but the invite was appreciated. It was a beautiful day at the Port of Vancouver. There was a special sail-away party where the crew did their best, and look at them dancing here. The port is famous for just narrowly going under the Lions Gate Bridge, so a lot of people were on the decks to see it go by, including me. I partook in the festivities too. $10 boozy drink, okay. This atrium area of the ship, which spanned decks 5, 6, and 7, had something going on usually all the time. This shot is the rare exception. There was music always being played, and even the occasional workout. Deck 6 had the Grand Casino and the lower level of the Grand Princess Theater. This internet cafe is just a relic of a bygone era. No one really uses it anymore, so this could be changed to something a bit more useful, a bit more practical. Deck 7 also had this very horrific looking bird, but you know what? He was friendly. This bear was also friendly, waving at everyone. Deck 15 had all your health-related activities. There was a fairly sizable fitness center and the Lotus Spa. I didn't really go to either of these places. I always mean to hit the gym to put off the inevitable weight gain that is likely to follow, but I didn't go to the gym, not even once this trip. Being an Alaskan cruise, the pools were of secondary importance. There was hardly anyone in them except mostly in the beginning when we were near Vancouver because it was very hot. As soon as we got into Alaskan waters, they were essentially in no man's land. A very small one at the aft of the ship, and then 2 regular outdoor ones, and then one in the solarium, the indoor pool. That's the only one that got any use. Of course, these shots don't show that. The promenade on deck 7, while looking its age, does wrap around the entire ship, which I did like. You can walk around the entire ship. Front of the ship on the promenade was also great for spotting wildlife. Some days it was completely foggy, you couldn't see anything. There's one area that we were told that is very active with whales, so there was quite a few people there, including me, and we did get to see a few things. Once again, when it comes to drinks, I didn't get any of the packages. They were far too expensive. There's a lot of bars to choose from on this ship. This was actually my favorite bar, the Wheelhouse. It was It was a nautical theme. There was a lot of ships and sailors kicking around. It was a lot of dark wood. I feel like I could have a whiskey here. I will say, I never did go there. This was not the cruise for the outside Oasis bar. It was looking very sad. A lot of the bars had this thing called the cocktail of the sea, or the best cocktail of the sea. I thought that was kind of a cool little thing. It incentivized me to try a few of these just to see what it was. I didn't try them all, I will say that. This one was the best. It's very sweet, very tropical. Didn't suit the environment, but well done, Sheena Fernandez from the Philippines. Okay, so the food. That's why we're all here, after all, isn't it? The buffet was much smaller than the last cruise, won't lie. Breakfast had the basics, eggs, hash browns, and various meats. Here's some waffles and some yogurt, so there was some sweet things too. Lunch had various sandwiches, salads, along with hot dogs and burgers. A large chunk of meat, mashed potatoes, looks like some burritos there, so there was some variety. They did have ramen at various times, which I thought was a nice change. The dessert section sadly was lacking for me. Some were good, like this coconut tart, others not so much. Compared to the last cruise, the Grand Princess just can't compete when it comes to the desserts in the buffet. Even the cake day, while looking pretty good, was very limited. There were 3 main dining rooms, and while looking a little dated, they were perfectly fine. Each day had a different menu. Here's an example of our sail-away menu. Now, eating in the dining room for dinner is a must-have in my opinion. It is where the food really goes a level up from the buffet. We never ate dinner in the buffet. We went to the dining room every single time. There's even lobster tail, which I never have, but I had to order it when it was complimentary. Of course, the desserts, I had too many to count. Let me just run through a quick succession of these. I mean, look at some of these desserts here. Right here is where things get a little bit more dicey. This pistachio dome was good, not great. There's this love boat, dream boat thing that I ordered. Curiosity got the better of me here. It was like a chocolatey mousse inside, and it was good, not great. I found when they tried to be original, they faltered a little bit. This love cake was just delivered to the table. No one ordered this, but I did eat it. We did do breakfast and lunch in the dining room a few times, but every single time I was slightly underwhelmed by it, and I thought, okay, I could maybe just go to the buffet for this. They're not bad in any way, they are just average. So what I do and what I'll continue to do is go breakfast and lunch perfectly fine in the buffet, but for dinner, stick to the dining room. That's also my recommendation for you. The pizza place is very good. In fact, it was voted best pizza at sea by USA Today. There's also a grill, the Salty Dog Grill, which serves burgers and specialty fries like cheesy chili fries, along with tacos. It was all very good. I had pretty much everything there, and I thought it was all very good. Coffee and cones is also there. The specialty coffee costs extra, but the soft serve is complimentary. The last complimentary option is this international cafe in the atrium. All these pastries are on the house. This cruise had 3 productions that were on offer. One was called Born to Dance, and it was pretty good. They got some moves. The dancers got some moves. Second is Stardust. My personal favorite was the British Invasion one, which was a lot of, classic British rock. There was quite a few Beatles numbers, and the Stones had a couple. There was a Queen segment, as you see here. So I was the British Invasion one was my favorite. All of them were good, not great. It's a cruise ship show, so don't expect Broadway, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. There was an Elvis show too, and he was good as Elvis, but in between songs, he was himself, and I thought he was cracking too many jokes. I was questioning whether he wanted to be a comedian or a Elvis impersonator, so gotta pick one. And this magician, I hate to throw a guy under the bus, he was not very good. A few of his illusions, you had to log on to his Instagram to see the illusion, it was part of the trick. And I thought, this is just a cheap way to get more followers on Instagram, I think. This guy, I'm sorry, he just was not very good. There was a couple comedians too that I thought were all pretty good. The best performer there was the naturalist, actually. He had a couple presentations throughout the 7 days, and I went to every single one. I'm kind of a nature guy, so I was interested in that. If you're interested in nature, then I'd highly recommend the naturalist on board. As far as our destinations here, this is Ketchikan, just a small town here. We didn't do a ton. There's Creek Street right here, which is like a street built around this river. Creek Street, self-explanatory. There was a seal swimming up and down. I didn't get any footage of it, but it was like quaint. There wasn't a ton to do though. It gave us some great shots of the ship, looking absolutely majestic in this really rainy, miserable weather that we had in Ketchikan. Juneau was not bad. They had this tram that brought you up to the top of Mount Roberts, though the weather was kind of ugly. Yeah, you see the weather is kind of cloudy. It started raining later on. The tram was pretty cool though. And yeah, see, like it was kind of misty. The views at the top weren't the greatest. The good thing about the tram though is that once you bought it, you could go on it. Once you got that stamp, you could go on it as many times as you wanted. And the weather did clear up, so we went back up. And this is when we got these shots. Like it turned into a very beautiful day. And coming down, you got a great bird's eye view of the Grand Princess. Let's just sit and enjoy her beauty here. Another thing is we were able to hit the Alaskan brewery too. So this is why I don't do the drink packages, because I want decent beer, and if I'm gonna pay those prices. So we went to this brewery and I got a flight of like good craft local beer. So that's why I do it. This is Skagway, which is like an old gold rush town. They've done a good job building it up. There's look at this, the Red Onion Saloon. While in Skagway, we did the only excursion I've ever done, and the only one we did on this trip, which was the White Pass and Yukon Route Railway. The original trail was prospectors leaving from Skagway going to the Yukon Gold Rush or the Klondike Gold Rush back in the late 19th century. They built a railway not long after that takes you up. Before, they had to just hike it up. They had to hike it up. There's a guy on the train that is explaining the whole thing to you, the history of it. It's quite interesting. But a lot of great scenery, a lot of really nice views. You could go out onto the very back end of the rail carriages. So you're outside, you could get a lot of shots or video. You pass one or two really old relics of, look at this old bridge. It's just derelict bridge. I'm definitely glad we're not going on that one. You actually go back we go into Canada. So you go from Skagway through the mountain pass into, it's either BC or the Yukon. Okay, I just looked it up. It's BC, it's not the Yukon. Despite its name being the White Pass and Yukon Railway, we will not be going into the Yukon. We turn around as soon as we cross into BC and head back towards Skagway. Yeah, I think this was when we crossed the border into Canada. The NWMP you see there, it stands for Northwest Mounted Police. Kind of a cool historical cabin that they've left up there, because the Northwest Mounted Police it was dissolved in 1922, so it doesn't exist anymore. But it's cool that they left that there. Okay, it's getting windy in Skagway. Let's get out of here, I think. The next day we entered Glacier Bay State Park. A couple park rangers came aboard to explain what we were about to see. This is the big thing on this entire cruise. So this is why a lot of people go on it, is this part of the cruise. We were about to see a bunch of different glaciers here. You really couldn't take a bad photo here. Like, look at the size of this mountain. Look at that ship right at the very bottom. That is a pretty large ship, and the mountain is just absolutely dwarfing it. So here's the Lamplugh Glacier. I don't know if that's right. Apparently every hour a piece falls off of it, thereabouts. We did actually witness it. I didn't get it on film though. Unfortunate. Yeah, here we go. The top of Mount Whitburn. So this is like the main event in this state park, is this kind of panoramic view that we're getting here. So there's the John Hopkins Glacier. It's very, like, look at that. Look at the mountains here. And the ship does a complete 360 right in this kind of bay. You see, like, this is the view you get all around. Everyone's outside taking in the vistas. It was a beautiful day. Like, look at it. I imagine if you get a bad weather on this particular day on this cruise, then it's not really ideal. And there's kids jumping in the pool. They were selling hot drinks on the deck here. Hot boozy drinks. I got one. I think it was the winter coat. No, it was the winter coat. So I was feeling pretty good right there. Look at that view behind me there. Just beautiful. In the middle of the bay here, where the boat did the 360, everyone was outside just taking in the views. It was very windy here and it was freezing cold. I think it's crazy that 150 years ago there were these crazy pioneering men that were out here and we're exploring this area, and now here we are on a cruise ship. There's pools and buffets and spas. I don't know. I think that blows my mind. And I wonder what they would think seeing this massive ship in this inhospitable land, really. Even the seagull here was like, nope, I'm out. And that was it. This is on our way to Anchorage. The cruise is over. This is on the bus. We're still getting good views, even after we're off the ship. Okay, the Grand Princess scorecard. Let's do this. The condition of the ship. You know, it is a 26-year-old ship, and it is noticeable in some areas. The promenade, some of the chairs in the theater were a bit run down. But for 26 years old, it's not that bad, even though you could call it the Grandma Princess by this point. Hospitality was great. All the waiters and the cleaning people were great. The waiters in the dining room were singing happy birthday and happy honeymoon to everyone. The food, I thought the buffet was a little lacking of variety. It needed a bit more variety. The food wasn't that bad. The dining room I thought was a hit, especially for dinner. And the desserts in the dining room were so good, very good. Drinks, 7 out of 10. Because of the cocktails of the sea. I like that it incentivized people to buy more drinks, which worked on me. I bought 2 of them. I like that. And then entertainment, 6 out of 10. The stage shows were on par with the last cruise. They were all good, not great. The Elvis guy was pretty good, but the magician, oh dear, the magician, no good. Okay, that's the end of the cruise and the end of the video. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.